Yeah, buddy. Is it on?
Yeah, it's on.
It's on. Alright, so here it goes. And so, yay, there's no more tearing while I'm jumping around. Woo! So I finally solved that issue. And here's the, that's when the thing's supposed to come in. The issue was, so the issue was with the camera, and that's what I originally thought, and I made a post on the Torque forums asking about it. It's like, how do we fix this? And someone responded, it's most likely the camera, which is exactly what I thought. Because yeah, I basically asked before I made some major changes. I didn't want to waste all my time doing. But anyways, see the issue. Well, there's two big issues with the tile when using tile maps with Torque X. The first one is that the engine defaults to a bilinear filter on all your objects, and so when you add these tile maps, and so it basically it's pulling from a texture, and so you have your tile texture, and the engine does a filter over the texture, and so your adjacent tiles will bleed into each other
sexually. And
so when you create your tile map, you're going to get issues where adjacent tiles will bleed into your current tile, and so you have to fix that by forcing it to use a point texture. Basically like a pixel resize. It's basically no filtering at all. And it's kind of hard to do that. You can't do it through the Torque Builder because the Torque Builder does not have that capability to modify, to adjust the material, to alter the material that an object has. It all uses the same bilinear filter, so you have to do it in code in the engine. And so I did that, and that fixes the problem where you get the boxes around each tile where it's bleeding in. The other problem was when I was jumping around, so when you're just looking there, it's fine, but as you're moving, you suddenly start seeing single frame tears in the image. Tear, tear. And I actually have a
still you captured of it.
And it's not right there. Where is it?
Hidden. Oh look, there's Rohan.
Oh, here it is, right there. So you can see it is when I was moving, it introduced this tear between all the tiles. And that was caused by the camera not being on a pixel boundary, which was causing issues with the the floating point math, and so all the textures were off by 1, so which is why you get this thing. Yeah. And I fixed that by forcing the camera to go in pixel coordinates. It was kind of interesting at first because I was trying to, when you set the camera's position to fix it, then I realized it wasn't working because the camera is mounted to the Cobalt, and so the Cobalt, when you mount something, it mounts it by a Torque 2D scene object, and the camera inherits from T2D scene object. And so the mount system was setting. Basically, this is not virtual, and so it was calling the base position function right here instead of this one, and so I had to change it so when you get the coordinate, it converts it to the proper. So this right here, our camera in Cobalt's Quest was set to the width and height 128 by 72. That's a target.
720p.
Yeah, that's a target resolution, just with a 0 hacked off.
Yes.
And so all I do is I multiply it by 10, round it, divide by 10, and there we go. We're in pixel coordinates, and it works. There's no more tearing.
So John has a mission complete.
Yep, mission complete. That horrible bug is gone, and so you probably won't have any more terrible bugs this entire time. Like that.
Yay! Okay, John.
What we're gonna have to do for Kobold's Quest is we're gonna have to convert all the levels to bitmaps, and because there's just tearing issues. I got the camera working finally, and so it zooms out it zooms out well. So as your character is spread apart, the camera will zoom out to encompass the larger picture. And so it works like the new Super Mario Brothers Wii, and where the two players move further apart, the camera will zoom out a bit, and eventually it'll zoom out to its maximum limit, and in which case you can leave the character behind, he'll die. But the issue with this is, in order to get the tile layers, the tile map to show without the tearing issues. Well, it's not really tearing, it's more of it's like an align issue. I'll go into it in a second. I had to use some certain type of math. Well, it's just I had to use certain values, and I had to clamp on those values. So each unit was equal to 10 pixels, and so I had to make sure that the camera's position was in multiples of 0.1. And so I had to cut off all decimals after that. And the issue was when you zoomed in, you changed the camera extent, and so it wasn't in multiples of 0.1 anymore. It was basically all this combined was causing issues because the texture coordinates are floating point numbers, and floating point numbers have rounding errors. It's a big problem in 3D engines when dealing with the floating point numbers. It's because there's an epsilon, which is it's a range that the floating point number will not get. That's actually the fun thing. A floating point number can be 0, but it cannot be 0 at the same time. It's all because of this little leeway here, because of the way that numbers are stored. And it just so happens that the floating point numbers errored in such a way that it was grabbing, instead of grabbing the tile, it was shifted one over, and so you'd get an adjacent, a single line of an adjacent tile. And so you'd get errors in between the tiles, it looks like. And I don't know, I can't figure out any way around it. I just can't. And so, to save myself hours and hours of trouble, we're probably just going to convert all the levels to bitmaps and do it like that, because then you're guaranteed no problems. And so that's going to be our solution.
Sadly, that'll eat up a lot more memory. Sigh.
It'll render quicker.
Yeah. Memory. Want that dollar bin. Oh well.
Oh yeah, it is. Oh yeah.
Well, we'll figure it out.
Yep. The zooming.
Okay.
So oh, you're dead.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
Even in Mario Wii, they drag behind for a couple seconds.
You're dead. They drag behind?
Yeah. If you try running off to the right while the player, they'll be forcefully drug along for about 2 seconds before they finally fall out of screen.
I'm not going to bother with that.
Aw. Mushroom. I can't time it with my hand.
Use the trigger.
Trying. There we go. Man, I'm having a horrible time timing this. There we go. And now I'm dead again. One-handed.